Hey everyone, welcome to Man Cave Insider episode 22. I'm Dennis Clark. Thank you for joining me. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel so you can see past and future videos. You could also follow us on Twitter. The handle is @InsiderCave. Now we're here in my man cave, and this room is filled with things that I've collected my entire life that have meaning and importance to me, and these are the stories behind those items. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite albums of all time, Def Leppard's Hysteria, and I'm going to do an unboxing for their 30th anniversary box set that was released a couple of years ago. Now, a lot of people know the story of the recording of Hysteria. On the heels of their monumental success, Pyromania, they went in immediately at the end of the tour in Dublin to start recording the album. Producer Robert John Mutt Lange decided not to produce the album because he was exhausted just completing work on the Cars album Heartbeat City. They had reached out to Jim Steinman, who had worked with Meatloaf. That didn't work out. They reached out to several of their engineers to produce the album, and that didn't work out. At one point during Christmas time of 1984, they took a break, and on New Year's Eve, drummer Rick Allen was in a tragic car accident where he lost his left arm. During his recovery, Allen decided that he could still play the drums with the use of his both feet and a series of pedals to simulate the drum sounds that he would have been using with his left drum. To the credit of the band, at no point did they ever consider replacing or firing Rick Allen after his accident. The goal of the band when recording this album was to be the Thriller of rock albums. And after Rick Allen's accident, Mutt Lange came back in to produce the album. They had 11 songs finished when on a day towards the end of recording, Lange heard lead singer Joe Elliott strumming a song on a guitar. He asked Elliott what it was. He said it was something he was just working on and pushed the band to record that song. Initially, the band did not want to record the song because they had worked tirelessly on the other 11. However, Lange convinced them, and they spent the next couple of weeks recording the final song for the album, Pour Some Sugar on Me. When Hysteria was released in August of 1987, it had cost almost $5 million to produce over 3 years and had to sell at least 1 million copies just to break even. The album yielded 7 singles, but it was a year later when the single Pour Some Sugar on Me was released that the album exploded, selling 1 million copies a month for the next several months. When the band decided to tour for this album, they performed in the round, having the stage in the middle of the arena, giving audiences a much better look at the band. This was documented in the videos Pour Some Sugar on Me and Armageddon It. Ultimately, Hysteria would stay in the top 40 for over 2 years, which had only been done previously by Born in the USA from Bruce Springsteen. The legacy of this album remains to this day, and at any given Def Leppard concert, they will perform at least half of the songs on the album. The band is considered one of the greatest of all times and was recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There have been several releases of Hysteria over the years. Initially in 1987, it came out on cassette, LP, and compact disc. What was great about this album was in a time when most bands were releasing albums with 8 or 9 songs with a total duration of 40 to 45 minutes. Hysteria had 12 songs, clocking in at 63 minutes of music. In 2006, the record company released a deluxe edition of Hysteria featuring a bonus disc that included B-sides, remixes, and several live tracks. Throughout its career, Def Leppard had been asked many times if they were ever going to be performing the album Hysteria in its entirety, and they never found the right reason to do so. However, in 2013, they did their first ever residency in Las Vegas at the Joint at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, where they performed Hysteria for the first time in its entirety in several concerts taking place over the course of a month. That was released with the 3-disc set Viva Hysteria. Now for the show, Def Leppard opened the first set as Dead Flatbird, billed as the world's greatest Def Leppard cover band, where they performed several rarities not performed previously in other concerts. They took a break, then they performed Hysteria in its entirety with Rock of Ages and Photograph as an encore. And they released it on a 2-disc set, either on CD or Blu-ray. and I'm going to put the links down below. Perhaps the greatest release of Hysteria was in 2017. To commemorate the 30th anniversary of the album, they released a 7-disc 30th anniversary box set that was curated by lead singer Joe Elliott. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, what we have here is the 30th anniversary box set that was released in 2017, commemorating the 30th anniversary of Hysteria. It's a 7-disc set consisting of 5 CDs, 2 DVDs, 4 booklets, and a poster. And as you can see, it comes in a pretty sizable box. So let's go ahead, open it, take a look, and see what's inside. The first thing on here is the big book of Hysteria, and this chronicles the making of the album. As I've talked about, and you probably know if you're watching this, it was a monumental task putting this album together, which took 3 years, 3 countries, and over $5 million. In it, it's got a lot of great pictures of the band during this time period. And what it also does is it goes through each song track by track, telling the stories about the writing and the recording of all of these songs. And then it's got the complete credits at the end. The second book that comes in, which is really awesome, is a reprint of the tour book. Now, I saw them on this tour in New Jersey in the fall of 1988, and the tour book was identical to this one. This is from their European and UK tour in the spring of that year. And a few things happened between the spring and the fall. First off, that summer, Pour Some Sugar on Me was released, and then the band and the tour really exploded. And I like it that it's an exact replica of the tour book that we got when we saw them in 1987 or 1988. And Joe Elliott, the lead singer of the band, was in charge of this whole project and just did an outstanding job. The third book is a discography, which gives you a list of all of the international releases of the album and every single. This yielded 7 singles, which was the goal when they recorded the album, because Michael Jackson's Thriller had also released 7 singles as well. And this album was still selling long after they completed the tour at the end of 1988. The fourth book is Portraits of Hysteria, photographed by famous rock photographer Ross Halfin, which is pictures of the tour, pictures of this band during the time period. You have Steve Clark, Phil Collins, Joe Elliott, Rick Allen, and Rick Savage. This would also be the last album and tour featuring Steve Clark, as he tragically passed away recording their next album, Adrenalize. And this is a great shot of the stage that was documented in the video release called In the Round, In Your Face Live. And it comes with this fold-out poster of the album cover. This is also cited by many as being one of the greatest album covers of all time as well. So that takes care of that. And then now we have the 7 CDs. First, disc 1 is the original album featuring all 12 songs. The album was remastered for this release. Disc 2 has B-sides and remixes, as does disc 3. There's a really cool thing on the end of disc 2 called Classic Album Hysteria, which is a radio interview that Joe Elliott did talking about each song on the album. And I mentioned that they put out a video for In the Round, In Your Face, and you've got 2 CDs of the live recording from that concert featuring all the songs. Now it has 2 DVDs. First is Visual Hysteria, And this features all of the videos and all of the television appearances that they had done to promote this album. Now, their most famous video from this album is the live version of Pour Some Sugar on Me. What a lot of people don't know is they actually did another video of that was released only in Europe and England, which is also on this DVD as well. And then you've got Classic Albums Hysteria, which is a 1-hour documentary talking in depth about the making of this album. And it's got a lot of bonus features as well, featuring several acoustic performances from Phil Collen and Joe Elliott about the making of the album. So thank you for joining me on this look at Def Leppard's Hysteria. I'm going to put some links down below where you can get this on various formats. We look forward to seeing you next time.